Hey everybody, it's Genghis John again, playing Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds. In this episode, we will be playing in the Confederacy faction, the main hero of which is Sev'Rance Tann, a Chiss Force user, sort of like Asajj. She's a pretty cool character. This is the third mission after we have recovered from the Battle of Geonosis.
My esteemed colleagues, things are progressing well. General Tann is bound for the outer rim world of Tatooine with our newly refitted forces. As some of you are no doubt aware, Tatooine is controlled by a criminal organization known as the Hutt Cartel. Sev'Rance Tann will go to Mos Osno and contact Boorka the Hutt, a crime boss who we believe possesses vital information regarding a new weapon being developed by the Republic. I am confident my general will convince this Hutt to share his information with the Confederacy.
Always dealing with the Hutts, trying to get information. So yeah, in this one, first we just gotta meet up with Boorka the Hutt, and we're gonna have to fight through a lot of tough enemies. So we start off with a fairly large army, but for some reason the bounty hunters are built out really strong, lots of health, really punishing attacks, more so than you would expect from untrained soldiers.
Use any means necessary to extract the information we need. Remember, the Hutts are notoriously resistant to a Jedi's power. Be cautious in dealing with this creature. You are forced to bargain. Promise Boorka whatever he wants. We shall honor the agreement as we see fit.
Of course, my master.
There you have it. There's the mission out in the Duneland wastes. Gotta trek through the sandy hills here.
Look how they
And there's the first of the bounty hunters. You see how many hits they're taking.
will feel my
Already killed one. They've got our bounty hunter down quite a bit. There go two soldiers.
they will suck.
And especially now in concentrated like this, they can deal a lot of damage. But Sev'Rance was able to get up there, kill several at melee range. And Sev'Rance is good for drawing that aggro so that the enemy attacks her instead of your other weaker units. The weak ways are melee, so as long as you can kill them from a distance, they're not going to be able to do too much.
They will feel
So we end up fairly damaged, but relatively few casualties. This mission, it ends up taking a long time. The early going moves fairly quick. We're about to meet up with Boorka in a second.
I'm listening.
Unko na publiko wata pongsta chisamos osno. Uhana basto muli ra pumiki no cha.
That's a bold move for them. I'm sure it displeases your organization immensely.
Chuba kiliba pangsta uba kokpa chichi. Chawoba na chuki koning tong pavopa.
So basically, we're going to be taking out this New Republic, not New Republic, Old Republic spaceport in exchange for whatever information Boorka has. As I was saying earlier, the early going goes relatively fast.
We can acquire droids there to build our camp.
Take the capital troops there and convince the Jawas to lend us their droids.
So yeah, we're gonna go steal some droids from the Jawas. That's going to allow us to start building a base. One of the main flaws I experience when playing through these Attack of the Clones campaigns is ultimately it just turns into a long standard game where you'll see as I play through, ultimately what you try to do is just survive until you can build the air cruisers and then just lay waste to the enemy base. Takes a long time with these campaigns. I like missions that are more lots of different objectives. I'm not a huge fan of the obsessive massive like base building kind of stuff. It just takes way too long than what I care to, you know, play these campaign missions. Taking out some Tusken Raiders, Crate Dragon.
Pitiful resistance.
No match for Sev'Rance Tann. If I wanted to play a longer game, I would just do a standard match where everyone starts essentially on equal footing. In these campaign missions like this, the Republic is already starting with a massive base. So they're starting with a huge leg up. We've got nothing. I mean, we've got those 4 worker droids that we just picked up and those resources. So we have to start from ground zero, whereas the Republic is already pretty well established. So we're going to move our troops there in one block. We're going to have our workers build north of Mos Osno there. Basically, try to put it between us and the Republic.
Super.
See, putting my troops in defensive stance, we're going to move to the opposite end of town. Do a little reconnaissance. There is an optional objective to send a trade ship to that spaceport, establish trade, and what that will do is give us more Nova crystals. Sort of went out on a limb with Sev'Rance, took her way out towards the Republic base, and I found all of these banthas, which are going to make a nice food source for us. Gotta take out these Tusken Raiders, though. So, yeah, as I was saying before, the New Republic base is huge. It's already got lots of turrets, anti-air turrets, walls, and here we are just out in the open with a control center and some prefab shelters. You can see sort of our position in relation to the Republic base. We're out a bit in no man's land. We just want to keep the Republic from being able to get to our base. Make it an animal shelter where we can house those banthas, have a steady food supply. Need to collect carbon to be able to build a troop center. You can see there's lots of resources over by where our base is at. You've got ore over there to the right, Nova crystals at the bottom, big carbon deposits north. We got into a fight with some Jawas, and they are tougher than you would guess. We're just doing a little reconnaissance around the Republic base, getting a little Little ballsy there. Bit too aggressive. You can see they've got some massive resource deposits. Need lots of workers, putting them to work. Trying to stay out of range of the turrets from the base. Again, this is not an attack force. This is to prevent the Republic from attacking us. Building some more prefab shelters to encourage our max civilization size. I think they're gonna manage to kill a medic there. Straying too close to the base.
It is done. Death to our enemies.
Sev'Rance is gonna go take care of those Jawas. You can see her at work. Takes 2 swipes of the lightsaber to kill them, so they're nothing to sneeze at. Probably a bit overpowered, like all the bounty hunters, all the henchmen at the beginning of the level. There we are building a troop center. And we're also going to try and build a war center eventually, which will allow us to improve our ground troops. But we just got to keep those workers busy. Oh, that was the war center that I just built. Next, we're going to build a troop center. Researching some armor improvements. The flashing light down there at the bottom is an idle worker sign. So basically, there's a worker not doing anything. I'm waiting for more carbon to come in for him to build a troop center. And we're encroaching enough resources to be able to research tech level 3. There we go. Just enough carbon to start building that troop center to be able to come up with resources. Reinforcements, I should say. And there we just accomplish the optional objective of establishing trade with Mos Osno. I like to research things that increase range. Those last few technologies that I just researched there. Being able to see your opponent from further away is key. Especially against their ranged units, things like mechs or cannons, things like that, because if they can see you but they are technically not in your range, they will fire on you without your forces hitting them back. So it's really important to keep the max range. See the Republic starting to come out and attack our forces a bit, getting really aggressive with Sev'Rance there, attacking that massive tank. And she's sustaining some turret fire.
Look how they run.
But nothing she can't handle.
Aye, sir.
Retreating a little bit now that they have proven to be a bit more aggressive. Like to keep Sev'Rance up front a bit to draw some aggro. She can take more damage than the other units. Little resource management to try and
It is done.
have enough to research certain technologies. Severance has sustained some damage there. We're actually all going to end up retreating a bit. Building an airbase to be able to make some fighters. They are a nice defensive tool, as well as you can use them for scouting. And ultimately, they're good at protecting your air cruisers from enemy fighters.
Get them. Weapons activated.
Getting attacked by a Tusken Raider up there. We eventually take him out, but not after he kills a couple workers. Here we are building a fortress and a shield generator. Fortress is a nice defensive building that can defend against both ground and air attacks. So it's my favorite building. It's pretty key. And the shield generator makes it even more indestructible. And that shield generator can also help units within the shield generator, giving them double health. So this is just ultimate defensive posturing here. Like I said before, these games, in the most of the missions in the Confederacy and Republic factions end up like this, to where you're just trying to survive until the air cruisers show up. And I am skipping around a lot. There was over an hour and a half of game that I was able to trim down to the current length. More attacks by the Republic. They're getting closer, getting more aggressive. But you can see with the fortress, with my troops stacked up there, ultimately there's not a whole lot they can do. Building some turrets to further improve our defensive line. And you see them attacking with some Jedi there. Ultimately, even the Jedi not going to be able to do much, just too much sustained fire.
It is done.
Needs to get back to rebuilding those turrets. Gonna send those bombers on a bit of a scouting run. They end up just getting blown up.
My tactics are superior.
Gonna build ground turrets in addition to the anti-air turrets. Again, we're just trying to make our base ultimately impenetrable. There you see our Air Force, starting Air Force at least. Nice 6 regular fighters, trying to spread them out so that they can catch anything that might come in. Enemy transport coming in, we manage to blow it up with anti-air before it can drop its troops. We've got that transport full of pummels, which are great at breaking down gates and walls. However, something happens here. I'm not sure what it is, but they sort of lag out and they don't really do much damage to the gate. And I really should have had additional units protecting them from enemy troops. You see here, they're just going to get swarmed by tanks, by fighters, by ground troops, and ultimately they're going to end up not doing a whole lot to this gate. Basically, any attempt to attack this base without air cruisers is a futile attempt. So we need to research tech level 4. We are at tech level 4. And here you see I'm just trying to get enough resources to be able to build air cruisers, which are a fortress unit, and improve our fighters enough so that they can protect our investment in those air cruisers. You can see the heavy factory units and technologies there. Heavy mech factory, that's where you're going to build your pummels, anti-air tanks, as well as basically like cannons. There's really two different types of cannons. There's artillery, which is made in the heavy mech factory, but then there are like your howitzers, which are more stationary, made in the fortress. The fighters trying to battle some tanks here, but they end up not able to do a whole lot. They're able to get in, they're attacking our turrets. Shields are holding them, though. We just need to get Sev'Rance in there, in close, to wreck these tanks. You can hear her using her lightsaber against those ground troops. See Sev'Rance in action there, along with the fighters. Trying to research the next level of fighter. Sev'Rance got a bit out of position there, a bit aggressive. You see her really low on health. I was afraid she wouldn't make it back to the fortress, but she does.
One down.
They've got troopers and Jedi coming in.
No fee is too big.
But we've got enough firepower to repel all of these attacks between the turrets, the fortress, and the troops. There's not really anything they can do ultimately to stop us. There we are creating the air cruiser. So this is ultimately the strategy that wins me most of my games. Standard type games and these Clone Wars campaign missions. Air cruiser unleashes a weapon of mass destruction type blast. Very devastating to buildings and to ground units. But a very slow weapon. It doesn't have a very fast rate of fire, so you have to be able to have fighters there to protect it. A pretty steady stream of attackers, but again, it's just they're not throwing enough at us at once to overwhelm our forces. This is going to show you what the air cruiser is capable of. Decent amount of health. They are also shielded. There you saw them just wipe out that entire Republic squad. I try to take out that same gate. I don't manage to, though, because I got too close to that anti-air turret. So really an investment wasted there, showing you the need. Even though they're very powerful, you have to be very cautious. So here we are with a second group of air cruisers and some escort fighters. We blew up that gate. Not that it really matters. I'm not gonna go through it at all. And then there are a bunch of enemy turrets on this rocky outcropping. We're going to destroy them from a distance. allowing our ground troops to get in closer. We got the fighters there to beat back any enemy fighters that show up, like that one. And we just have sheer numbers on them at this point. You can see just how much damage those cruisers can do. 1 is pretty powerful, but 2 is just nothing can really withstand that. Got a bit too close to the anti-air turrets, so we lost 1 fighter there. Those are Republic bombers. They can't actually hurt air units, but we destroyed them all the same. The Geonosian, they can get a bit annoying at times. Anytime you give them instruction, they do all of that chattering. You see, you know, it didn't take too awfully long to destroy that entire cliffside of turrets. So now we're going to work on this other gate. And the fighter's job is just going to keep enemy fighters off their back. Great range effect also on those air cruisers. We're just researching some more to help our troops. Increasing their armor, increasing their range. You see we're making some additional fighters there off in the right. At this point, it's really just a matter of time. And it did take a bit more time to beat this level. More so than the video would indicate. Because the air cruisers, they do shoot very slow. So it is a slow but sure method of victory. You see us starting to penetrate the base fairly far. You have the outskirts of the town here with a Republic base towards the middle. There you see an enemy fortress. Need to take that out from a distance. There's our additional support squad ready to come in. We get our ground troops involved. Sev'Rance is down there in the corner, fending off a lot of enemies by herself. Once again, I sort of overextended her, trying to get her out so that she can run and recuperate. Down to 52 health, which is pretty good for other units to have that much health, but if she's, you know, your hero and you need her to survive in order to win, that's not a great amount of health. We're just letting the ground troops shoot at whatever's close, draw enemy soldiers out as we blow down this fortress. Got another air cruiser making a couple escort fighters. Sev'Rance chilling in that fortress until she gets back to full health.
By your will, death to our enemies.
Here comes some enemy fighters, but we've got a lot of anti-air units that are able to just blow them right out of the sky. Fighters are a little bit weak in this game. They're good against troopers, but they don't do great against buildings or tanks, things of that nature. You would think that they would be better at that sort of thing, but you also have fighter bombers, and those are better at taking on tanks and buildings and that kind of thing. But really, you're better off just using resources on an air cruiser. If you're trying to build, spaceships to blow up buildings, save it for an air cruiser. We just have more reinforcements pouring in. The end is nigh. Anything within range getting blown up.
Target in sight.
Devastating blast from the air cruiser. We're getting real close. There at the very bottom you could see our end objective, their spaceport. But it's still pretty well defended by turrets, so I'm not willing to send my ground troops in there. Even though it would make things go faster, I'm just going to let the air cruiser handle my dirty work. Oop, got it too close to that anti-air turret. Survived, but just barely. Think I end up having to make some more air cruisers to eventually beat this mission. Sev'Rance trying to finish that anti-air turret all by herself for good measure. That is an enemy air base. Once we take that out, that would eliminate the threat of enemy fighters. And right there, I'm pretty sure we lost the air cruiser. Yep, because they got fighters coming in from the other direction. Cut forward a bit, Sev'Rance took more damage, had to retreat her. We're building another air cruiser to finish the job. He's going to go in and blow up that spaceport.
They will suffer.
This is the final blow here, I believe, coming up. Boom. Kersplat. That's going to be a victory for the Confederacy.
Look how they run.
There's the victory. Let's see what Dooku has to say.
It seems the Republic is testing its new weapon on the inhospitable world of Eridan Prime. It is no surprise that they should choose such a desolate, remote location, so far away from any reinforcements they might hope to contact. General Tann, I think it is time we brought our newly refit forces to bear on our enemies in the Aradis system.
Okay, there it is. Well, I hope that you enjoyed watching this episode. It was much, much, much longer than I anticipated. I don't think any of my others will end up being this long. But if you enjoyed it, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know in the comments different things that you'd like to see out of my old videos, which campaigns you're most interested in seeing me play, or what standard game types you want to see. What's your favorite faction? Just let me know. I want some feedback. This has been Genghis John. Once again, thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. Stay cool.